Greetings, friends. David J. Coon with Qigong Awareness. A little tea time with the Buddha and myself at night. In the darkness of my office, I got it lit up over here with some lighting. Pull out your tea, light your candles. Let's have a little conversation if you so desire. Vlog number 29. Okay. I've had some sincere requests regarding the subject of charisma and how to develop charisma. So, have a sip of your tea. Enjoy yourself during this conversation. I hope you do. I certainly will. All right. So, the definition of charisma out of Wikipedia or Google, somewhere here, I just looked it up. It says, compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. They use the example of, she enchanted the guests with her charisma. And then the second definition is, a divinely conferred power or talent. Oh, you gotta know I love the second one. A divinely conferred power or talent. So check it out. Let's just do it one more time, okay? The first definition is a compelling charisma, a compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire. First of all, inspire means of the spirit. Inspire devotion in others. I don't recommend getting too caught up in others' devotion, because one day they'll like you, another day they don't like you. So I don't really recommend seeking that. If that's the reason you're seeking charisma, we need to talk more about this, because, again, that's something I personally wouldn't recommend. They use the example again. She enchanted the guests with her charisma. It's almost like in the first definition, and I think what some people think of charisma, as I was thinking about the answer to this, because I've had more than one person ask me, I've had a few people actually ask me lately, so I just decided, okay, you know what, I'll speak to it. Sounds interesting. So my first thoughts about it were that, some of them anyway, because I had a whole bunch of them all at once, but one of them in particular is this idea, to me, of what would be authentic charisma and what would be a sort of Hollywood charisma. Not to say anything bad about Hollywood, but just the idea, in other words, that you can put on a show and you can become a good actor or you can become a good actress and you can pretend or fake or make charisma. And you can enchant people, and you can entice people, and you can put on the game face. And of course, it's going to have to do with the makeup that you wear, and it's going to have to do with the clothes that you have on, and what kind of image that you portray. And all of that can create an attractiveness. It's like, in some ways, you can think about it from a lower consciousness perspective. Best way I can put that quickly, succinctly. From a lower consciousness perspective, it would literally be like trying to catch a fish, like catch a new girlfriend, catch a new boyfriend, catch some new followers, etc. Again, all of that you may learn over time is a waste of time, because capturing people is actually very easy on the level that it is. Just become who they want you to be. It's just very easy. Just become who they want you to be, and then capture their attention, and then, ooh, they like you. But then as soon as they like you and you realize you've caught that fish, you're already bored. So capturing people and capturing devotees or followers or whatever the case may be, it's not very exciting. The journey doesn't last long. Then maybe you got to go find another person to catch and to entice and put on the fakeness and everything. But this is also why you see in Hollywood, for example, it's a prime example of it, you see a lot of people who are outwardly, on the outer side, okay, outwardly, quote unquote, wealthy. They're on the outside, they're wealthy, okay, and they have lots of things and material possessions, and everybody loves them when they come to the show. But how many stories do you hear that come out of Hollywood of people who are using drugs and who are depressed and who have, the more money they make, the more depressed they get, the more movies they make, the more alcohol they turn to and drugs they turn to, and so on. And that's that outer craving, and that's that outer seeking of approval from the outer world. And there's no end to it. That's the thing. On the outside, there's no end to it. You just keep going and going and going, and like you try and catch a fish, then you catch a fish, then you catch two, then you catch five, then you get a whole bunch of people who love you, and then pretty soon they're like, oh my God, you're so amazing. This is what they do to the actors and actresses, in Hollywood or whatever, that they really love, and they're the stars, right? And they go, oh my God, you're so amazing, I love you, oh my God, you're like so incredible, oh my God, oh ah, and they all scream and everything, right? How do you think that actor or actress feels when they got like 5,000, 10,000 people like screaming like that at them and for them? It's just literally like, maybe like the first time they're like, wow, this is so cool. But really it's empty, because what are those people really going to do for you? How sincere is it of a dynamic? How sincere of a relationship can you have if that is the depth of it? Okay, not to say it's like that for every Hollywood actor or actress or whatever, but it's just using this as a general idea. So let's talk about the second definition. The second definition says a divinely conferred power or talent. Okay, and of course, in having a divinely conferred power or talent, you could have the first part of the definition, which is a compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire, let's just say inspire others. I don't like the word inspire devotion. Inspiring devotion, certainly there are a lot of gurus, for example, who inspire devotion. And through devotion, a lot of the students and so forth that will gather around the teacher will show that devotion. And one of the ideas or themes there is that if the student or the disciple shows enough devotion to the guru, they're showing that devotion therefore to God, and they're surrendering themselves, and they surrender themselves to the devotion of the guru, and the guru is connected and is quote unquote one with God, and so, or one with source or Tao, or however you want to think about that. And so then that person, through giving up and through devotion, can find that connection to the Christ within, the Buddha within, and a lot of times that's done through the guru, so on. Anyway, that's a particular path. I'm not judging the path. I'm just expressing my knowledge of that path to the best of my ability in a simple, succinct explanation. So for me personally, I'm not interested in devotion of others. Instead, I myself personally, you've probably heard me say this before, I learned to become my own master. I'm still in the process. I'm always in the process. I'll forever be in the process of becoming a greater master than I was the day before of myself. So my teaching to other people is, I do know a few things about becoming a master and how to master one's life and how to master one's breath and how to master one's speech and how to master how someone walks and how you sit and how you breathe and what you're thinking about and what you focus on, and so on and so on and so forth. There are so many things for us to master, whether it's sipping tea or driving the car or riding a bike or practicing our Qigong exercises or going to the trampoline park or going for a walk by the beach and not tripping over the curb. Whatever the thing is, there are so many things for us to master. Now, there's an old saying, ancient saying. It used to be written on the above the doors at the temples and so on, and it used to say, "Know thyself first." And some of you have heard me teach this teaching before. Know thyself first. Didn't say know your cousin, know your best friend, know your neighbors, try and catch a fish, know the people outside of you. Figure out what they do, where they go, how they move. That's what Facebook is all about. No offense to Facebook or anyone, but the business behind Facebook, for example, using that as an example, it's about looking at the demographics of a population and saying who buys what, when do they buy it? Do they buy it on Saturdays? Do they buy it at 10 p.m.? Do they buy it when they live in this city or the the other city, who buys it the most, figure out how the people move, everything else, catch a fish. You can do that without charisma. You just have to look at the statistics and look at the demographics, and you can make that happen. But if you're looking for, I don't know, a date, a mate, a job, new best friend, or you're a teacher like myself and you get on the stage and you want to move an audience, whatever the case may be, what's your reasoning behind it? What's your motivation? If it's, again, to catch a fish, well, then just put on whatever the fish are, whoever the fish are, put on their favorite costume, whatever costume they like the best. If they like long hair, grow your hair long. If they like tattoos, go get some tattoos. If they like earrings, go get some earrings. If they like red clothes, go wear red clothes or blue clothes or green, whatever the thing is. And then it's pretty easy on the level that it is. Not everybody can do it. But if you have some degree of an actor in you or an actress in you, you can go act and you can become the actress. You can become that new character, and then you can go catch fish with that, right? But what I would rather point you in the direction of myself is know thyself first. Know who you are and know who you're not. Look at what you believe about yourself. Look at what other people told you about yourself when you were growing up. If they told you you were green, but inside you knew you were blue, well, then focus on being blue. And be blue until you're tired of being blue, and then maybe you'll be purple. And then people will say to you, well, I thought you realized you were blue. And then you say, yeah, well, I thought I was blue, but then I became purple. We're so caught up in these definitions and labels about people and about who they should be and who they shouldn't be and all of this. And really, in my opinion, MYOB, mind your own business. Your own business is your business. This is my personal opinion, but my business is my business. Your business is your business. What you do in your life, your business. What I do in my life, my business. If you, I don't know, try and put a bunch of garbage on my property, then, that might be your business crossing my business, and we need to have a discussion about it anyway. But overall, I want to mind my own business. I want to learn to know myself and find out who I am. And if I decide I'm blue and then I decide the day later that I'm purple, I want to keep seeking and I want to keep digging. All right, let's go past colors now. Let's go past the superficial, and let's talk about the soul. If you go deeper beneath the surface of your ego and you go deeper than the surface of I'm blue, I'm green, I'm red today, I'm yellow tomorrow, I changed my mind, I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, I'm a Buccaneer, I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I mean, all of those things are fine as long as you don't become too identified with them and too attached with them to the point that you yourself become unhappy with yourself. Because underneath all the layers of all of that stuff, outer stuff, is the real you. Some teachers call it presence. Some people call it the authentic self. There's different ways to look at it. Some people call it soul. So when I think about charisma, personally, I think about soul. I think about the depth of soul. And from a Buddhist perspective, not that I'm Buddhist, but I identify with a lot of concepts that the Buddhists identify with. I also identify with those concepts. One of them is the concept of reincarnation. To some people, reincarnation is an idea, it's a belief, maybe it exists, maybe it doesn't exist. For me personally, I had experiences as a child where I would see people that were in my life and their faces would change and their character structure would change and things would happen in their energy field. And I began to realize that somehow I knew these people in other contexts. That's the best way I can put that. I did not hear about reincarnation physically to my ears or my eyes or so on, my brain. On the outer level, I did not hear about reincarnation until I was about 21 years old. So for me, The real depth is about the soul, and the soul, some souls, this gets complicated. I'm just going to try and make it very simple as I can make it. Because when we get into physics and we get into time and the fact that time is an illusion and it's all happening right now, then past lives would be called parallel lives, all lifetimes happening simultaneously. It's kind of like if you ever watch The Matrix or some other movies where they have a bunch of TV screens and they're all up on the wall at the same time, and there's like 1,000 TV screens or 50,000 TV screens or whatever, and all of them are going on simultaneously. It's a question of which one are you really tuned into. So anyway, are there past lives? Are there not past lives? Maybe there's just parallel lives. Anyway, main point I would make about that, aside from maybe opening up your mind on some of those thoughts, is that going inward and knowing yourself beyond the mask of your face, your hair, your makeup, or whatever you got going on, behind whatever color your skin is, beyond your name. Some people call me David, but beyond your name, beyond your age, through meditation, through Qigong practice, through yogic practices, even through some external practices of martial art, and especially as the martial art turns to be more of an internal martial art. You find a depth within yourself. It's there, it's within everyone. But the surface character, depending on how insecure the surface character is, the struggle is, the addictions are, the reactions are, that's going to determine how much you're being run around like a program, or by a program, like a robot. I started practicing slowing my robot down. I started practicing sitting and not moving. I started practicing standing and not moving. Then I started practicing standing and holding particular postures and not moving, while my insides, on the level of the mind and on the level of my emotions, screamed and cried, kicked and screamed, however you want to say it. And I didn't move. And yet my body shook, and I had catharsis, and my breath changed, and everything. And when that little melodrama or temper tantrum went away, I was left with a clear mind, at least clearer, okay? And again, always working on a clearer mind, but significantly clearer mind now than I had then, whenever then was. So therefore, to me, there is charisma, Hollywood charisma, meaning acting. It's an act. And then there is authentic charisma, which is related to the soul. And if that kind of charisma interests you, you cannot go for the short game and all the worldly shortcuts. You have to go for the long game, which is called the game of the soul. And you have to focus on what is the soul's path. Where would my soul have me go in my life? When I ask those questions, and I've asked those questions over the last approximately 40 years, it's been a lot longer than that, actually, as I think about it, but my intuition and my gut told me to go one way. That's my soul. My mind told me to go someplace else. Every time the monkey mind cracks the whip on you and you jump and you follow the ego path, you will solidify the ego path. You'll solidify egoic relationships where you battle with other egos about who's right and who's not right, whose fault it is and who's to blame and who hurt who. She hurt me, I hurt her, this one hurt that one, I can't believe this one did this, and I can't believe she did that, and I can't believe this happened. And then people create more complicated situations for themselves than they would if they were more clear about who they really are and what they really want, which is about what's happening on a soul level. And in order to find that, okay, in conclusion for now, okay, for this video, I don't want to bore you or take you into this too long if you don't want to go there. But the soul is worth investing in. And whatever you have in your soul, by the time this lifetime is over, you're going to take with you. And everything else, every relationship, every ounce of gold, everything you've ever manifested, whether it's tons of debt or tons of money, whatever, it is all going to be dust in the wind. So choose wisely. And if you're going to focus on charisma, the law of attraction, magnetism, build your own energy, mind your own business, focus on yourself, withdraw from your dysfunctional relationships, create gaps in your life to practice things like Qigong and like meditation. Come back to your center and remember, who am I? Behind the mask, behind the hair, underneath the clothes, under the skin, inside my heart, inside my mind. Because if you don't quiet it down in here, and if you don't become calm and peaceful in here, you're going to attract outer chaos. So if outer chaos is happening in your life right now, start practicing meditation, start practicing Qigong, because it is the authentic shortcut. Thanks for tuning in. And to your charisma, your authentic charisma.